Hi everyone, welcome to Best Practices. I'm Laura Spalding Best, Exhibitions Manager at Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art. As Exhibitions Manager, my job at the museum is to install the artwork and design the exhibitions. So, over the past 14 years in my work at SMOCA, I've probably hung thousands of framed works, paintings, pictures, photographs, and at this point I've also designed and hung several salon walls. So we're going to look at the different designs of salon walls, what the content of a piece inspires you to hang and design in a salon wall, and what might be most appropriate for your artwork. So when you're looking at different salon wall designs, you might have artwork that's more whimsical, that could be more of a free form. You might have artwork that shows a process or a passage of time, and that's more rigid. You would want to not distract from the artwork and the order that it goes in by having it in either a grid or a linear formation. Some artwork might be eclectic, and that's when you get more of a true salon. It might feel a little bit more crowded, the spacing might not be even. So you'll want to think about all of that as you design and select your salon wall composition. So how do you actually plan your design? So there's a lot of different methods that we could use for this. One thing that might be easiest is to take a few sheets of paper, Post-its, and scale them to the size of your frames. That can be done pretty roughly, pretty simply. That doesn't have to be exact, but it helps give you a plan so you can lay these things out and really play more with the different formations and compositions. But if your mind doesn't work that way, if you really want to physically lay out the whole thing, you can do it on the floor. Try to protect your artwork as much as possible. Here, I always am going to use moving blankets over tables with white sheets on top of them because it's padding, it's clean, and it protects my artwork. But that's museum best practices. At home, you can lay down a towel or a blanket, anything that's going to just be enough of a barrier from your artwork to protect it. So what I'm going to do now is select my salon wall pieces, and I'm going to lay out my full design on the table. Okay, so I've made my pretty much final salon wall composition. So these are all works from SMOCA's permanent collection by a lot of artists that I love. And I chose these because there's some things that they have in common, but they're a pretty eclectic mixture. So I've got these two color field paintings by Peter Tollins and Marcia Afif. I've got this really graphic and bright Louise Nevelson, this Alexander Calder, which is also wonderfully graphic, is similar to this Brad Kahlhammer watercolor, and this Joey Quick-to-See Smith print, and also this somewhat minimal but also brightly colored Monique Prieto print. And so I think all of these work together. A lot of them have really strong compositions, and so I've made some choices that will kind of make sense once we really see it up on the wall. So one thing that you can do when you're designing your salon is to think about like what the anchor of your composition would be, so to speak. So for me, this piece is in the center really, and it's going to be at eye level. So I'm going to build off of that. So what I'm going to do now is take quick measurements of what my spacing is here and make notes about the way that I've lined everything up. So you can see that this is eye level, so nothing else is going to be hung at eye level. They're going to be hung in relation to this piece, okay? So what I did here was I lined up the edges of these frames, so they're going to share that line. So that's something I did with intent. And then I'm going to have a similar spacing for this frame that I would have over here. You can see that these ones also are sharing a line. And then I'm changing it up sometimes where I'm having this piece centered off of this frame, And then this one is going to share a top line with this frame. And that gives me, larger bits of spacing in certain areas. And that's nice because it's not really predictable, it's pleasant for my eye, and I'm able to wander around and let the composition of the works guide me as I take in each artwork. So here's the biggest tip that I can give you when you're planning your salon wall. Once you've laid out the works how you want them to be, there's a big gap between transferring them from the table or the floor up to the wall. So here's the best advice that I can give that I use every single time. At this point, you need to take a picture. You need to take multiple pictures. You can take them from all angles and you'll refer to them the whole time. Because you might think that you know your plan, but as soon as you remove an artwork, suddenly nothing makes sense anymore. So I'm going to take a picture of what I've laid out now, and I'm going to be referring to that throughout my hanging. Okay, so I've got a picture of my salon wall design, and now I'm going to start to hang. So the first thing I'm going to do is hang this piece at eye level, and then I'm going to hang each one in relation to it after that. As I'm working, if I decide I want to make any little tweaks along the way, I might do that. Some things become more apparent once they're on the wall than when they're on the table. But for the most part, I think this plan is going to work. So here it is, my completed salon wall. I'm pretty happy with it. It only took me about 20 minutes to hang. It might take you a little bit longer when it's your first time, which is understandable, but I kept with my original design. I decided to keep similar spacings here, between my works, and shared edges. This one's centered, here's a shared edge, here's a shared edge, here's a shared edge, and that ends up feeling still a little natural, but really intentional. And I really like the way that my colors are spread out and my dark black graphic lines are spread out, and it's pretty pleasing. So yeah, I would hang this in my home. So today we've covered how to hang artwork in your home and how to design your own salon wall. We've got a lot of those basics down, but maybe you want to learn more from museum professionals. Do you have a suggestion for a future tutorial? Do you have questions or comments? Leave your comments below, or you can email us at smoka@scottsdalearts.org. Thanks for joining me today for Best Practices. I'm Laura Spalding Best.